Alright guys, gals, and everything in between, so I'm going to be doing a video a little bit different for you today. The XFL has been the talk of the town, and, I went and watched it, and I will start it by saying I've never really been a huge football fan, but I watched the XFL, and I must say, what they did differently with plays and the kickoff and all of this, it made the pacing a little, just different enough that I liked it. So I enjoyed the XFL quite a bit. I'm looking forward to actually going to a game, but I will start this video by saying this video is purely my own opinion. I want to give, as this channel is Scott's Thoughts, I want to give my thoughts of where the XFL should expand, and possibly suggestions of venues to do so. But like I said, I'm not an expert on football, I'm not an expert on markets, I'm more of a hockey person, as you all know, obviously from the jerseys I always wear. So I just want to give my thoughts on where I think would be some neat places, put in my 2 cents, and yeah, talk about this XFL that everybody seems to be talking about and digging, which is really cool. Okay, so first on the list is, well, I'm a little biased because it's where I live, but Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City, I can tell you because I live there, is a vehement football community. They had an arena football team, the Oklahoma City Yard Dogs, that they did support, and OU, God, talk to any Oklahoman about OU, generally speaking, or OSU. It's huge out here, and it was like culture shock levels of huge when I moved to live here. But the OU Stadium could be a good venue for Oklahoma City. It would just be outside of Oklahoma City, but it would be in what would be like the OKC metro area. Gaylord Family Memorial Stadium, it seats 80,126 roughly. So for a vehemently passionate football community, that's a really good venue. I mean, technically, that does seat more than some NFL stadiums. And if the community rallied behind the Oklahoma City team, I imagine it would do quite well, and it would be one of the larger stadiums in the league in terms of attendance if it were to be filled. So I think that Oklahoma City is a very viable market, as well as being geological rivals with the Dallas Renegades. Another one for a Western Conference would be Portland. Portland, also geological rivals with the Seattle Dragons, which they really should change that name. It is not a good name. But that's neither here nor there. Portland doesn't have a football team, but one of the things that queued me up on them is DC Defenders. Their stadium is actually for an MLS soccer team, and the Portland Timbers are an MLS soccer team, and they have a stadium that would work, and in terms of seating, Portland, I don't know if they'd support football as largely as somewhere like Oklahoma City, but at the same time, the stadium venue size is about what the seating I've noticed has been for the others. Providence Park, and it seats 25,128 roughly. So it would be a perfectly serviceable venue for the Portland area, especially if it was just a testing market to see if Portland would rally behind an XFL team. There's the major rumors, and I heard that Portland's going to get an MLB expansion. So Portland's kind of a hot market right now, so it would make sense to put that one and fill another market in the West. Another market in the West that I think could work is, let's bring the Canadians in on this. Vancouver, British Columbia. Vancouver, in terms of Canada, they've had the CFL. It's been successful. Vancouver, British Columbia also has a soccer-style venue that also can do football. That is BC Place, that seats 54,500. So it would be a good market to bring in British Columbia behind the XFL. It would also give it some international outreach, which the NFL hasn't done. And one of the things I've said to colleagues of mine is that if if you're going to make the XFL work, you should put it in a lot of markets that don't have the NFL, because a lot of those places probably want an NFL team. But now if they have an XFL team, they can rally behind that, especially because a lot of these places seem to really be liking the XFL. Yeah, bring in Canada. I mean, it would increase travel time and airfare and all of that, which might make it a little bit difficult. But you know, you could call this a wild card one for the West. But I'd say, yeah, bring in Canada. One for the Eastern Conference, which would be Boston, Massachusetts. What is a pro sports league without a Boston team? Or somewhere from that region? We have the New York Guardians, so rivalry right there with Boston. Alumni Stadium seats 44,500 roughly, so that would be another great market to bring in, and people seem to like the New York Guardians so far, so I can only imagine how great a Boston rivalry would be. They support the Boston Bruins, they support the Boston Red Sox, so why not bring in an XFL team and have them support a Boston one? Another from the East, which is one that actually came to me because I was talking to a coworker of mine, and they said, you know, why doesn't Alabama have an NFL team? And I went, well, I don't know about the market, but at the same time, look at Alabama Crimson Tide. Their stadium alone, which is where the XFL should put it, Bryant-Denny Stadium seats 101,000 plus. It's like 101,821 people. That is a lot of people, and it fills. So yeah, why don't they have a market? Or why don't they have an NFL team? They would support it. That whole area would support it. And I see Alabama Crimson Tide stuff no matter where I am in the country. So Alabama has that possible outreach. I've never been a Crimson Tide fan. I've never been a fan of really any of the Alabama collegiate sports stuff. But hey, that stadium is huge. It would work, and it would put a pro team in their market. And that could be potentially huge, especially with the outreach that the Alabama Crimson Tide have. And last but certainly not least, I wanted to try and get 3 for the West, 3 for the East, basically. But Kentucky. Kentucky would be a traditional football market, and I believe that they could potentially support a team. I went and looked for a venue that Kentucky could play in if they were to bring in a team. Kroger Field, it seats 57,800. So that again, these are some decent-sized markets for what the XFL is right now that could grow into more. Obviously, Oklahoma and Alabama have some of the biggest markets in terms of stadium size, but you could go way further out and bring in places like Austin or things like that that would be kind of neat to see. But I really do believe we need to have some non-NFL markets to really bring this league and let it flourish. So those are my opinions of places they could expand to. By all means, I could probably name off 20 more that they could go to. So again, I'm not saying if one you were thinking about was not on the list. You're not wrong. It's just, those are the ones that I thought up when I was doing a little bit of research and everything, but I want to know your thoughts. Do you think they should expand to these markets that the NFL hasn't already tapped into? What are some of the spots you think would work, and why? Don't forget to like and subscribe. I got plenty more videos coming to you. Love you guys.